beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to talk about how I learned English by myself without studying too much and easily and lazily. So let's get into it. I think the first step to learning English or any other language easily is to have a good start. I've talked about the honeymoon phase before, which is the first phase of learning a language or doing something new where you're really motivated. But how do you even get to the honeymoon phase? I think the best way is to just ease your way into it. And how do you do it? If you are someone who doom scrolls a lot on their phone or on YouTube, or if you love a specific band, or you have a beloved series or movie that you love and these are in English, congratulations, you have found your way to ease into the whole world of learning English. My suggestion, the best way to go about learning English is to pick a long, amazing series and just watch it. Which brings me to step 2. So for example, I watched the series Supernatural. It's about 16 seasons. It's a lot, right? Another series that a lot of people love is The Friends. Another series that I love, and it's also kind of long, is The Suits. So the point being, there are a lot of long shows that are in English and any of them helps. The idea is when you pick your series, you need to be as invested in the story as possible. Like, you should really love this. The thing that you want to create for yourself, the situation, is that you want to turn off the subtitles and just listen, following the story. Don't listen for any specific phrase that they're using, what they're doing, especially in the beginning, during the first 2 seasons. Don't listen to what they're doing and how they're pronouncing stuff. Just watch it, following the story and just being really engaged with how it's gonna go. And then after maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe end of the 2nd season, go ahead and turn on subtitles if it's possible to have them. If it's not, just keep on watching without subtitles. But this time also pay attention to some words that are being repeated so many times. Maybe you hear that word the first time and don't pay attention to it. Hear it the second time, don't pay attention to it. But when you hear it like 4 or 5 times, that's when you start paying attention to that word. If you want to put in some effort, I would say here, take a notebook and write those words down. But honestly, you don't have to if you want to just be minimum effort. Number 3 is to be as emotionally invested as possible in the language that you're learning. So for example, English. How can you be emotionally invested? So the first step to be that is that you need to care. We humans usually mostly care about other humans. So the thing that I want you to do is to find a person that you really like listening to and observing, whether like an actor or an actress, a singer, musician, whatever it is that you love, and you kind of see yourself in that person, but also you are kind of inspired by that person and that person speaks English. That's how you can care and be really emotionally invested. Because then you follow them like all across their different social medias or something, and then anything that they are acting in, you will be watching. Any interviews that they do, you will be watching. So the whole idea is to connect the language to one person minimum, but better, some people that you're really invested in. Basically, you want to attach the language to a certain group of people that you look up to and that you care about. And that's how you can care about the language as a whole. Same thing happened to like Supernatural. I love the actors. I watched their other movies. I watched their interviews. There were hundreds of them, thankfully. And then I was in the fandom of Supernatural. Most content of international fandoms is produced in English. So it's the easiest way to actually get connected and emotionally invested in the English language. Now, the last 2 tips that I have are more internal. Number 1, so I know that the majority of people always talk to themselves, and I'm one of them. But even if you're not, I would suggest you try. And every time, feel like you're being interviewed, but you're also the interviewer. So you ask yourself some questions, and then you answer those questions. And do this whole thing in your head. You can do it at bed, you can do it in the shower, you can do it on the way. It's something that you can do all the time. You don't have to really speak it, you just have to think it. But talk to yourself in your head in English. That's like the highest return of investment possible when you're learning a language. You will improve so fast due to the fact that you need to be making so many structures almost automatically, because when you're talking, unlike when you're writing, you can't go back and just fix those mistakes. So this is what's going to help your brain automate the language. I would suggest to at least spend 30 minutes every day to talk to yourself. And the last, but actually the most important, you should not be afraid of making mistakes. Because, in my personal opinion, people aren't really afraid of making mistakes. They're afraid of what it means to make a mistake. So if I make a mistake in German, am I really that concerned about the mistake? Or am I concerned about the fact that I'm thinking that someone else will think that maybe my German is not as good as I say it is? This negative thought that a lot of people have, and it's like the society conditions us to be looking at ourselves from an outsider point of view constantly. Sometimes that's a good thing, but not always, and definitely not in this case. So how can you not be afraid of making mistakes? There are two sections to this. Again, one of them is more psychological, but one of them is more practical. The psychological aspect is that your mindset has to shift with regular practices. It's also helpful to you in your daily life in other aspects. You stop performing for other people, because all of us in the society are performing to some degree, some more, some less, but at the end of the day, everyone is performing to the best of their ability. If you want to stop that performance and reach that self-acceptance, it takes some work. It takes some inner work. And this is not about necessarily languages, but this is about accepting the fact that making mistakes says nothing about your worth and value as a person. That was the hardest thing I had to overcome. When I overcame that, I could learn languages way fast. If your pronunciation or your accent is weird for the native speakers, that means absolutely nothing, because still you are speaking that language. Now, the psychological part aside, there is also a language part. How can you be okay with making mistakes? There is a way. And the way is to normalize it for yourself. How do you normalize it? If your problem is really huge, like you absolutely can't make any mistakes, you feel really terrible every time you make a mistake, bear with me, I've been there. When you're talking to yourself, deliberately make a wrong sentence and then correct it. And keep on doing that. A really simple sentence is, I don't have any pens. So when I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to say, I doesn't have any pens, which is wrong. And then I'm going to correct it and be like, oh no, but the correct version is, I don't have any pens. And this may seem at the beginning a really silly way, but your brain understands that making mistakes means nothing wrong is going to happen to you, and you can always correct it. Slowly, it will pick up that making mistakes in general doesn't matter, and that the good people in your life want to see you try, and the bad people in your life shouldn't be seeing you at all. And that's my advice on how you can learn English without studying English. On the side, also getting to know yourself better. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you had any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you later. Love you. Bye bye.